their votes. We know. We know what we've all gone through. So is this nation today encouraging violence, machoism as a way to move our democracy forward? I beg to say no. And it should never come out of the mouth of a member of parliament. It should never come out of a member of parliament's mouth that he will not allow. He will not allow by what means. After all, in a worst case scenario, if the member remains here or decides to participate in the words of Harun Idrisu, minority leader as he then was, the decision, Mr. Speaker, I am dealing with Hamza. No, yes, don't worry, leader. You know what stuff I'm made of. I will not get into waters that I'm unsure. Mr. Speaker, we are not here with manpower. We are not doing a macho business in this chamber. So we'll be told that a certain 189 has the macho power to move Honorable Nyindam out. No. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Matthew Nyindam, as the applicant himself said, and the applicant here is Honorable the member, he himself considered that he has become aware that there is a stay of execution.
The press this afternoon, we've gathered here as a minority caucus in Parliament to address you on this animal farm judgment that seeks to remove our colleague Matthew Nyindam from Parliament. I address you on behalf of the caucus, and we are here to say that we are pursuing a solemn duty as a result of this extraordinary judicial event that has occurred, one that strikes at the very heart of electoral justice in our republic. On Monday, November 24th, 2025, a High Court judgment was delivered, one that can only be described as breathtaking in its reach and alarming in its implication. His Lordship, Justice Emmanuel Bartplange-Brue, had ordered nothing less than a wholesale rerun of the entire Pandai parliamentary election. This is not routine judicial intervention. This is something far more troubling, and we must speak clearly, candidly, and courageously about it. But before I address the substance of this matter, let me first speak directly to the people of Pandai. Your Member of Parliament, Honorable Matthew Nyindam, remains the sitting Member of Parliament for the Pandai constituency. He remains a full Member of Parliament. He remains a proud and active member of the Minority Caucus and the New Patriotic Party. No person, no institution, and certainly no flawed judicial order can suspend the mandate you freely and lawfully conferred upon him, unless and until the appellate process, properly invoked and fully exhausted, runs its lawful course. He will continue to serve you with dedication and dignity. Let me state this emphatically and without equivocation. The minority will lawfully resist any attempt, whether subtle or brazen, to bar him from representing his people. We will not permit democratic legitimacy to be overturned by judicial improvisation. The factual background. In December 2024, Honorable Matthew Nyindam was duly declared Member of Parliament for the Pandai constituency following a peaceful and orderly election. His opponent subsequently filed a petition challenging alleged irregularities in 41 polling stations and aspects of the collation process. The relief sought by the petitioner himself was clear and specific. He requested rerun in those 41 polling stations. And by the way, he had, prior to the gazetting of the results, filed a petition. And when counsel for Mr. Nyindam, Honorable Nyindam, raised a preliminary objection, and same had been argued, and the very day the judge was to determine the matter, they quickly filed a notice of withdrawal, which was quite strange. This judge, who knows that when matters close and he's fixed a date for judgment, no matter what, he's supposed to deliver a judgment, decided to stay away from determining the matter because a party has decided belatedly to file a notice of withdrawal of the case. Yet, in a development that defies ordinary legal reasoning, the High Court issued an order directing a full rerun of the entire Pandai parliamentary election, covering all 152 polling stations, to be completed within 30 days. As if this judge is not aware of the Supreme Court decision in the Akufo-Addo and others versus John Dramani Mahama and others in the 2012 presidential petition. The sad part of it is that the NDC candidates and his supporters were aware of the judgment before the day, to the extent that on the day of the said judgment, the regional minister led a team of NDC party faithfuls into the courtroom, anticipating the expected result, the result that they were going to have judgment in their favor.
The ruling of the Tamil High Court was delivered on the 24th of November 2025. The statutory 7-day stay therefore remains in force until 1st December 2025. During this period, the High Court's ruling cannot form the basis for the Speaker to instruct the clerk to notify the Electoral Commission that the Pandai seat is vacant. Honorable members, it's therefore premature to say that the Honorable Matthew Nyindam is disqualified from entering and participating in the proceedings of the House, because this period still falls within the 7 days mandatory stay of execution of the order.
On Monday, November 24, 2025, the Tamale High Court, presided over by Justice Emmanuel Plunge Patbrew, ordered a rerun of the Pandai constituency elections after several months of examining the election petition filed by the NDC after the 2024 parliamentary elections in Pandai in the northern region. This judgment sparked a lot of controversies, both in the northern region and in the House of Parliament, prompting the northern regional executives of the NPP to react. At a press conference, the party's director of communication in the region described the ruling as a travesty of justice.
The petitioner never sought the annulment of the entire constituency elections. No pleadings, evidence, or argument were presented concerning the remaining 111 police stations. Yet, astonishingly, very surprisingly, the High Court ordered a rerun of all the 152 police stations. Legal absurdities and judicial overreach. This ruling violates certain principles of electoral jurisprudence the science and philosophy of law.
The NPP added that the loud silence by the government and the ruling party on the allegation that the judgment was procured is worrisome, saying the precedent being set is dangerous for Ghana's democracy.
There are serious allegations that the ruling issued by His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Bat Plangru was procured through high-level political interference involving the presidency and the leadership of the NDC, which has not been disputed. Ladies and gentlemen, we state responsibly that these allegations are already in the public domain. They are being openly discussed across multiple platforms. No categorical denial has been issued by any of the persons named.
While rejecting the ruling, the party claimed the High Court ruling is unlawful and a threat to the will of the good people of Pandai.
Accordingly, the Northern Regional Executive Committee declared as follows: there shall be no lawful rerun of the Pandai parliamentary election under this defective order. 2. All appellate legal avenues have already been activated from day one, the very day we received that compromise judgment. 3. The mandate of the people of Pandai shall be defended by every lawful means.
It is also instructive to add that Zipline Ghana just this week announced of shutdown of 3 of its centers. Mr. Speaker, we know the critical role Zipline has been playing, especially in delivering medication to rural health care. Mr. Speaker, they have announced that they've shut down because of over 170 million outstanding claims. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the Minister of Health is able to address this House regarding steps being taken to deal with it, because it's not those of us in the cities that will suffer from this shutdown. It's those in the rural areas who otherwise will need emergency medical care, and if there is blood, the need for them to get blood transfusion as quickly as possible is one of the reasons for bringing in Zipline. Mr. Speaker, my last point. The Honorable Acting Defense Minister and Minister of Finance came to brief us on the matter of the Elwak disaster, where 8 young Ghanaian
Zipline. As for Zipline, even in my debate yesterday, I indicated clearly that I am against the Zipline contract. I am against the Zipline contract. You cannot spend 170 million Ghana cedis that you are sending blood to health facilities using drones. The Ministry of Health should have bought their own drones by now. You can't continue spending that kind of money that you are paying a service provider. It's a total waste of money. The Ministry of Health should have bought their own drones. After all these years, the Zipline contract, I recall, was signed somewhere in 2021. Can you imagine every year if we are spending 170 million Ghana cedis? 170 million Ghana cedis, so that they will go and drop blood in some village and then come back. Meanwhile, there's road network leading to almost every town, every community in this country. There are only few locations that you will say the roads are not accessible. That money could have tied the roads to all those locations that we are concerned about. And Ghana Health Service could have bought their own drones and done their own deliveries anytime they need to do a delivery. How much is a drone? How much is it? Some drones are as cheap as $4,000, $5,000. The most expensive drones don't even go beyond $10,000, $20,000. By now, we would have had drones for every district in this country, managed by Ghana Health Service. Let's go and do a total calculation how much money we have wasted on this Zipline contract. I call for a cancellation of the contract. The contract should be cancelled. Ghana Health Service should develop their own in-house capacity to deliver the blood through their own drones, and we would cut costs enormously. So please, That is my personal view of the matter. Mr. Speaker, stadium accident. Of course, those who...
Mr. Speaker, let me be concluding that part of this budget, funding for all constitutional bodies have been maintained and in some instances increased so that they can do their work. Mr. Speaker, let me also use this opportunity in debating the budget, since I speak as the present Minister for Education, that there is some ongoing debate on restrictions on Muslim students in Wesley Girls, which conflicts with international human rights standard and even standard expected of us in Ghana's constitution under Article 33(5) and 26(1) of the constitution. And then to assure our colleagues that we have a duty to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian child and to uphold the rights of every Ghanaian citizen. No right is divisible, and that we will not countenance any action by any person to deny any Ghanaian girl the opportunity to profess or practice any religion.
Hello, good morning. My name is Michael Kofi Odro, and this is Inside Pages. A warm welcome to today's edition of the show, running between now and 10 a.m. It's a calm Saturday morning here in the capital, and we're glad to be coming your way from the Dr. Isaac Street here at North Ridge. Inside Pages takes a look into the big issues within the week. And among the top headlines from stories that dominated media conversations within the week is the issue of religious freedom in our senior high schools. Wesley Girls Senior High School, in enforcing the doctrines and principles of the Methodist Church, has sparked debate, leading to a lawsuit by private legal practitioner Shafiq Osman. A number of religious organizations have waded into the debate, and we share some more reactions with you, and we also have some top brains here in the studios who will share their thoughts on the subject matter. Another issue that also caught our attention within the week is the call by Majority Leader, the Honorable Mahama Ayariga, for the cancellation of the government agreement with Zipline, entrusted to facilitate the distribution of critical emergency drugs, vaccines, blood, and other blood products in identified health facilities in Ghana. According to the Majority Leader, every year, Ghana spends 170 million Ghana cedis to Zipline. The reason he's calling for a cancellation of the deal. We'll also look into the High Court's ruling. The Tamale High Court on Monday ruled that and annulled the election results in the Pandai constituency and has ordered a rerun. A ruling that has seen diverse thoughts, especially from the two main political parties, the ruling NDC and the biggest opposition party, the NPP, sharing different thoughts on the ruling. The Minority Leader, the Honorable Afenyo Markins, has been accused of assaulting the judiciary following his reactions to the ruling by the Tamale High Court. We look into all of this and more. The show is big on your views. We know that you've also got some wild thoughts, and you can share them with us here in the studios. 0533-292525, 0533-292525. You can share your thoughts through SMS and also on WhatsApp. Remember, the show is streaming live on Facebook where you can leave your thoughts, and also we're live on 94.1 FM. This is Inside Pages, and I'm Michael Kofi Odro. Let's do a quick break. We'll right back.
Chichi woni nara mi din e de baby da pa me de ade sonko kra na ebremo nya de to aduane mo ama waduane e de pa na me de bremo eno any some spices de e bu wa wo bebre o various flavors ubenya e ya akoko ubenya nantwie ye de ku jollof mu ma emu ye de ubenya ye de ku nkwan mu ye de ku froye mu ho na ko pebito na ema waduane enye de onye mi nia ye nkon ye konko tie nyankofo eka
autant de communication, nous enjoy Oduba, that Samu spices.
One in the SCN, don't fight. I need to get it. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Moon Samu.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices.
In Sanaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Yawa chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, and jollof, and the flavors of Bebre.
Samu spices, yes, Saka.
FDRJ Jadin Kratoyatum.
Wabedum, Tamasu, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwema Besisia. Abozing. I can say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey, but I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji, I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral?
Say a pessary insecticide GB at a user. Co pharmacy in a shop biamu. Na mum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu to a cotonwa. On for Royal Dutch and our Aerofield Trading. Effie spray with Daimwa.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension, just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Go be from Georgia, be luckiest. From not the pure, cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter what you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your goddamn for boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey.
Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, Mommy, simple direction. Mr. Goodluck no check me well.
Yeah,
man.
Easy car. Or dial star 712 hash.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
How much birthday?
Oh, how romantic.
And he followed the prompts. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the
You
rest.
see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family permission? Before December, may release a motivational album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
In a world where security is paramount, peace of mind should be a necessity and not a luxury. This is why Virtual Security Africa has created a special discount package up to 40% on all our CCTV systems. We are more affordable now than ever. With as low as 4,000 Ghana cedis, you can get 4 high-definition cameras, 3 terabyte hard drive, cables, and a digital video recorder. Why choose us? Because we offer top-tier quality you can trust, lifetime after-sales support, 2 years warranty, and you can view our systems remotely. Sidinua Peke. Spend less, secure more. Call us on 055-874-0764 and 050-331-4068. Virtual Security Africa. We will beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality.
The biggest cultural explosion of the year is here. The Afro-Brazil-Ghana Festival 2025. December 12th and 13th at the Gold Coast Bar and Grill. It's coming alive with 2 unforgettable days of culture, food, fashion, and music. Enjoy electrifying performances from Vansi Gadam, Adam, Go Get 'Em Episode, Wiyala, Amanziba, Big Twins African Music, and Dance Ensemble. Lead Cruise. This historic festival is organized by Big Twins African Music and Dance Ensemble in collaboration with the Embassy of the Federated Republic of Brazil in Accra, supported by Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Ghana Tourism Authority. Learners, showcase your products and services to the world. Visit AfroBrazilGhanaFestival.com.
Welcome back from the break. You saw live on Inside Pages with me, Michael Kofi Odro. Your thoughts are welcome through our social media platforms. Metro TV Ghana, we're live on Facebook. You can leave your thoughts there as we do the readings here in the studios. You can also take to X, otherwise known as Twitter, and leave your thoughts there. Or just do a simple SMS or WhatsApp message, 0533-292525, 0533-292525. If you're living wherever you're watching us from, do not be bothered, as you can listen to the show live on radio. For those of you here in Accra, some parts of the Eastern, Central, and the Volta regions, you also get to listen to the show live on 91.1 FM, 94.1 FM, we're live. Now we start with our first story for today, where after 3 years of the government's engagement with Zipline to facilitate the distribution of critical emergency drugs, vaccines, blood products to identified health facilities in Ghana, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga calls for cancellation of Zipline's contract with the Ghana Health Service. To him, he was against the Zipline contract since the Ghana Health Service could not continue to spend 170 million Ghana cedis annually for the company to be sending blood and other products to health facilities using drones. He made this call on the floor of Parliament, reacting to the minority leader's assertion that it was a matter of urgency for government to settle debt to Zipline, who have already closed down 3 centers.
It is also instructive to add that Zipline Ghana just this week announced of shutdown of 3 of its centers. Mr. Speaker, we know the critical role Zipline has been playing, especially in delivering medication to rural health care. Mr. Speaker, they have announced that they've shut down because of over 170 million outstanding claims. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the Minister of Health is able to address this House regarding steps being taken to deal with it, because it's not those of us in the cities that will suffer from this shutdown. It's those in the rural areas who otherwise will need emergency medical care. And if there is blood, the need for them to get blood transfusion as quickly as possible is one of the reasons for bringing in Zipline. Mr. Speaker, my last point. The Honorable Acting Defense Minister a Minister of Finance, came to brief us on the matter of the Elwak disaster, where 8 young Ghanaian
Zipline. As for Zipline, even in my debate yesterday, I indicated clearly that I am against the Zipline contract. I am against the Zipline contract. You cannot spend 170 million Ghana cedis that you are sending blood to health facilities using drones. The Ministry of Health should have bought their own drones by now. You can't continue spending that kind of money that you are paying a service provider. It's a total waste of money. The Ministry of Health should have bought their own drones. After all these years, the Zipline contract, I recall, was signed somewhere in 2021. Can you imagine every year if we are spending 170 million Ghana cedis? 170 million Ghana cedis, so that they will go and drop blood in some village and then come back. Meanwhile, there's road network leading to almost every town, every community in this country. There are only few locations that you will say the roads are not accessible. That money could have tied the roads to all those locations that we are concerned about. And Ghana Health Service could have bought their own drones and done their own deliveries anytime they need to do a delivery. How much is a drone? How much is it? Some drones are as cheap as $4,000, $5,000. The most expensive drones don't even go beyond $10,000, $20,000. By now, we would have had drones for every district in this country, managed by Ghana Health Service. Let's go and do a total calculation of how much money we have wasted on this Zipline contract. I call for a cancellation of the contract. The contract should be cancelled. Ghana Health Service should develop their own in-house capacity to deliver the blood through their own drones. And we would cut costs enormously. So please, that is my personal view of the matter. Mr. Speaker, stadium accident. Of course, those who
So those are some highlights of the debate on the floor of Parliament, which happened on Friday, 28th of November. The minority leader, the Honorable Afenyo Markins, calling on the health minister to, as a matter of urgency, settle issues with Zipline. And that will spark reaction from the majority leader, who believes that the deal in itself may not promote value for money, and there was the need to build in-house capacity to handle the responsibilities entrusted with Zipline. One of my guests already in the studios, we're still waiting for Sam to also join us. Richard Suma is Deputy General Secretary of the United Party. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for the time.
Good morning. Good morning.
I trust you had a beautiful week.
Definitely so. Definitely so.
Except that on Friday, you were captured on cameras while you paid your last respect to the former First Lady, Her Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman-Rawlings.
Yes. Yesterday, first of all, I would like to say good morning to yourself, to the entire production team of Metro, the Inside Pages this morning, and to extend my warm greetings to Honorable John Allan Kojo Kyeremanteng and the entire leadership of the United Party, and to all the gallant constituency executive, regional executives who are working assiduously for us to be able to establish the structures of our party on the grounds that will enable us to become a very formidable party into the next election. Okay. So on that score, I would like to extend good morning to all of them who are doing great works across the 16 regions and all the constituencies of this nation. Yes, yesterday we bid farewell to Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman-Rawlings, a woman who can be classified as an epitome of courage, epitome of tenacity, epitome of organizational skills and capacity. She demonstrated everything that any woman could ever desire to become. She has actually broken the glass ceilings and made it a passionate determination by herself to become a worthy mother of emulating. And she did a yeoman's job, like to put it in that way, to this country. You know, Rawlings was in the helms of affairs, but obviously Rawlings alone couldn't have done all that he did without the full backing of the wife. And if you look at the people who thronged Accra Independence Square yesterday to bid her farewell, that should tell you that she's been loved, she's been recognized for all the good work she did, she's been given a state burial, and the president was there, the parliament was there, we from the United Party were there, NPP was there, to all the political activists or participators were there. That should tell you that yesterday's funeral wasn't about NDC or NDP losing a key figure, but the state lost someone like Nana Konadu. Yeah. So we are only appealing to all women who are coming up to emulate her, especially her dressing, the way she dresses, was a pure demonstration of who an African woman should be like. But today, we've been able to turn everything upside down. So we should learn some few things from her. And those who are going to the political space as women should also take a cue from what she did by making sure that she placed Ghana first above any other thing.
Okay, now let's come to our first topic for today. Yeah. The issue about the Zipline contract. Yeah. Minority, through its leader, calling on government to attach urgency in settling arrears with Zipline. Majority leader reacting by saying that the deal in itself must be looked at again, and he calls for possible cancellation of the agreement with Zipline.
Yeah, sincerely, I am also of that same school of thought that believes that we need to build institutional capacity. Okay. And even if we believe that there is some technology or there is some innovation, that perhaps all our students are tech, all the research we are doing, all the projects that people have done in terms of how we can use our citizens to solve our own problem, they are all sitting on the shelves. Because government don't have any deliberate program towards making sure that all research are put into practice. All research are like pursued to the fullest. That's why a lot of people do PhD, they do all manner of courses, okay? But at the end of the day, it all ends in research. And most of the research works are there because there's no deliberate attempt by the state to make sure that all researchers, their work is put to proper use. So we live in a country where every little thing we are running to a third-party contractor, or every little thing we are running to somebody to be the lead operator in that space. So, for instance, what does it take to really put or assemble your fine brains from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to let them understand that, yes, we want to augment the rate at which we deliver medicine to certain rural areas in this country. Therefore, you have been mandated to put together a plan, a proposal, something that you could be able to put together, activate it, manage it, run it effectively, and let it yield the needed result. Because, see, I may disagree with the majority leader in some aspects to say that roads have been constructed. We've improved access road. Therefore, we should use only the road transport as a means to transport medical equipment or medical supplies to rural communities, because supplying medical supply also comes with timeliness. Okay. Because we don't have the storage capacity in almost all the health centers across the country, especially the rural ones. Because ideally, we're supposed to do our own projections and know that this is the quantum of vaccine we require per this facility. Okay. This is the quantum of other medical supplies we require per each month or per annum. Okay? Then we'll be able to have the storage system where if you store the produce there, then at the end of the day, if it is all about temperature or it is all about the equipment that you need, you establish it. So you don't have to be transferring or transporting medical supply on each day basis. But now that we don't have the capacity to store in all the rural health centers, so that they'll have sufficient medical supply, that could take them possibly about 6 months. Then thereafter, when they run out of stock, they can restock, okay? Once we don't have that, then that means we must look at an innovative way of transferring or transporting emergency medical supplies to constituencies or to rural communities that need it urgently. Okay. Therefore, it is always incumbent upon every country to be innovative, to do critical thinking, and to be able to think out of the box. And thinking out of the box doesn't necessarily mean that you must depend on a third party to do that for you. Thinking out of the box is about how do you harness the energies of the people. Because you have a manpower base that you have trained, you have equipped them, you are still spending money to train them. But any time that there is a need for something that requires demonstration of our mental capability, technical capability, then we run to some third-party contractor. So for instance, if today Zipline is being paid 170 million Ghana cedis to deliver these essential goods, have we been able to do a proper analysis to say that if you are able to do it by ourselves, we would have cut costs by so and so amount? If you are able to do it by ourselves, we could have created jobs for this number of our citizens. And one other thing too that we are not good at as a country, that we don't do build, operate, transfer. Okay, so in other jurisdictions, this Zipline thing should have been a contract that have a time limit on it. Okay, there should be a sunset clause on it that suggests that maybe after operating it for this number of years and taking your money in terms of the investment you did by building the departure centers and the receiving centers, all the investment you've made, we are going to pay you based on build, operate, transfer for this number of years. Then at the time that number of years elapsed, you should be able to transfer whatever technology, whatever information you have, whatever knowledge you have in operating this Zipline system, you should be able to transfer it to the citizens. So it becomes lesser for us to do what? Operate. So sincerely, I am in full support of the majority's leaders call that we need to build institutional capacities. I have always believed in the Ghanaians. I have always believed that when you go abroad, Ghanaians are occupying various sensitive positions. They are innovating several things, revolutionizing various subsectors of various countries' economies. But when it comes to Ghana, there is something called synergy, okay? And synergy can only be built when we are able to harness individual skills and individual talent, because God has vested something in everybody. That is why parents pay so much fees for their wards to go to school and get education. But they get education and their education is not being harnessed. It is the responsibility of the state to harness every knowledge that we've been able to put our children through. But we don't do that. So we are quick to give contrast to people, and the contrast that we give to people, yes, the total information is not to the public view, but I wouldn't be surprised that there are some agents behind the Zipline contract who are beneficiaries of it. Because the kind of system we practice in Ghana is always about quid pro quo. You do something for me, I turn around and do it for you because I wanted an external favor from you. And the favor we always see from all these third-party contracts is that they operate, and then the citizens, especially political activists, are behind the companies and are taking huge sums of money in terms of percentages. And how do we grow a country when we are spending so much amount of money in only delivering essential services? So sincerely, I believe that let us look into how we can retool the Ghana Health Service. Let us look at how we can sit on the table with Zipline and let them understand.
Listening to the majority leader now, he stressed on the amount of money, the quantum of money being paid to Zipline. But as a country, looking at, you also mentioned that the services provided by Zipline is an essential service. These are critical situations where lives must be saved. Should we think about the quality of service delivered by Zipline, or we should be concerned about the amount of money we have to pay in return?
You see, in everything you do, you must juxtapose the cost and the benefit together. It must align. And you must also do what we call cost-benefit analysis. So when you trigger a process and you have embarked on it and you are working on it, that doesn't mean that it should be stereotyped, it should be cast in stone, that you cannot review the contract, or you cannot review what has been going on. Are you with me? So we are saying that, assuming that we look at all the health centers across the station or across the country, and there are some health centers because of proximity, okay, maybe we are in North Ridge, let's say we are in Ridge, okay, and there is a major health center in Ridge, and there are some other ones spread across like Labadi, and there are some around, let's say, Teshi, Nungua, and Co. Lekma and Co. Why can't we have a proper storage mechanism in the one at Ridge that has proximity to all the other auxiliary ones, so that at the end of the day, we can have a proper storage here? Because how much would it cost you to store a medicine or medical supplies for a year? Just put that against how much you are spending to transfer it from Accra to those destinations. So for me, I believe in quality service. But in as much as I believe in quality service, I also believe in cost. And cost is that we have several plethora of issues that is bedeviling this country. We have various issues. Look at the number of schools, children that are still studying under trees. Look at the number of children who are still being paraded on the street that they need health support to go and undergo any medical services. Look at the number of people who are waking up today without having bread to eat or places to sleep. So we have a plethora of issues that has bedeviled us, and we need to pay much attention to it and face it head on. So it is about managing the little resources of the state. So if we can supply medical equipment, or we can supply medical, what do we call it, disposables, vaccines and whatever it is, we can supply it. And if we are supplying it and storing it, it will cost, let's say, 50 million or billion cedis in a year. This one is how much? 170 million. So assuming you can do it for 70 million.
Okay.
We need to have saved 100 million that you can also plow it into other sectors. That is why we are saying that they have operated for a while. Let us do a cost-benefit analysis and see what other mechanisms can we deploy, so that if we deploy these ones, then we look at how would it mitigate the cost that today we are spending in pay 170 million.
Okay.
What can we do to bring it to at least 70 million for it to achieve the same result?
Okay.
By using your own people to build their own capacity, to build the capacity of the various health centers, and also zone them so that at the end of the day, it must not be every rural health center that has to store, but some can store, and in case of emergency, they can do what? Transfer to anyone which is closer.
What would be the ideal thing to do? Because listening to the majority leader, the passion with which he spoke, his choice of words and all, you see that he wants an immediate termination of the contract. And I ask, what would be the ideal thing to do? To bid time, build the in-house capacity, and be ready to deliver similar services, or think about the value for money and terminate the contract immediately?
Well, you see, I also believe in private sector investment. I also believe that there are private companies who need to invest in your country. But nevertheless, anytime you are going onto the negotiation table with a company that you are seeking their services, you must always think about a sunset clause that will have a caveat to say that this contract is reviewable by this number of years.
Yeah.
So that perhaps we should be told by now that in the agreement or in the contract signed with Zipline, there is a clause that suggests that we are going to review the contract in this number of years' time.
Okay.
That would have given us a fair idea to say that in the next re-look at the contract, we can say either we are renegotiating for it to be brought down, or we are cancelling the entire contract, or we ask you to transfer the services to our citizens and then we pay you off. So there could be various mechanisms to solving this problem. But if it is not explicitly stated in the contract, then I would not call for an immediate cancellation of the contract.
Okay.
I wouldn't call for that, because you see, it's a private investment, and perhaps I'm sure they also spend some money building the departure centers and then the receiver centers. Therefore, if you want to cancel the contract outright, it might also lead to some, what do we call it always?
Judgment debt.
Judgment debt, if I'm not mistaken on that. But if it is not going to trigger any judgment debt, we should still go to the negotiation table with the companies and judge with them and see if we can be able to renegotiate to align with the sentiments of the citizens. Because let me tell you, in as much as every Ghanaian out there...
Are there any sentiments from the citizenry on this issue? Because the call has only come from the majority leader.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that, yes, now the call has come from the majority leader. Going into the coming week, I'm sure this is going to be a topical conversation.
Yeah.
The citizens will also get the opportunity to contribute to the matter.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, no citizen will be against effective and efficient mechanism to deliver services to save life. No citizen will be against that.
Okay.
But
has the services or the idea, is it an effective one? Is it an effective mechanism? And do you think that Zipline has delivered on the responsibilities entrusted to them
But the data available to me suggests that yes, they've been able to enhance the rate at which supplies are delivered.
Okay.
They've been able to make sure that essential vaccines that would have been needed as ASAP, they've been able to deliver it to medical centers to be able to avert certain deaths and all these things.
Okay.
So in that on that score, you can say that they are meeting their KPIs.
Okay.
And what is the KPI? Maybe the KPI will be deliver and improve upon which we deliver.
Okay.
So if they've been able to improve upon the rate at which they deliver, then we can say that they have done their bit of the bargain.
Okay.
But we, as a candidate, say, I always say, excuse me to say this one, that is, it is only a fool who doesn't change his mind.
Okay.
So if we are doing something and we realize that, yeah, the cost component is weighing too much on us,
okay,
we need to look at it, or we need to build capacity of our in-house institutions, okay, so that whatever the third-party contractor is doing, institutions can be able to do same by themselves. Okay. At least we can be able to save cost. Do you know, Ali, how much $50 million would have done, or million cities could have done? It could have built about at least 10 primary schools. It could have built at least about 15 basic daycare centers. So at the end of the day, if we get some from here and we apply it to here, it's always good to save cost. But I would not call for an outright cancellation. Okay. Let us look into the issue.
I was going to ask you, because in your earlier reactions, you said that you support in full the call by the majority leader.
I support the call for building institutional capacity.
But you don't support the call for cancellation.
Immediate cancellation. Okay. But I'm talking about, please note me well, immediate cancellation.
Okay. No, but because in your earlier submission, you generalized it and said that you support absolutely the call by the majority.
Yes, I support.
So I was going to ask you that you are now saying that yes, Zipline is delivering effective and efficient services. You have also said that they meet their KPIs. So then what would be the basis to terminate?
That is why the basis I'm saying is about cost benefit.
Okay.
So you could have done the same thing, but you could
what's your position on the cost benefit analysis?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, the cost is too outrageous. To me, the cost is also outrageous, because it is all about technology. It is all about innovation, and it's all about using drones to do what they are doing. So it is not any sophisticated thing that they are doing that the state institutions cannot do. But the fact of the matter is that we are not ready to build the institutional capacity. That's why I'm saying that the general call for us not to be paying 170 million Ghana cedis to Zipline for delivering blood and essential medical supplies is in the right direction.
Okay.
It's in the right direction that we look at it. We shouldn't say that because we have signed that contract, therefore it is cast in stone that every year we must pay 170 million to them, where we can review it and, if possible, cancel it. If possible, make sure that we give it to our citizens to operate. But it must all be enshrined in the contract, and it must all be a judicial conversation between the two parties and for them to agree on what we are doing. But as a matter of fact, the 170 million Ghana cedis a year to Zipline, to me, I sincerely believe that we can bring it to the minimum level.
Okay. You're still live on Inside Pages. I'm Michael Kofi Ojo. We're discussing the call from the majority leader, the Honorable Mahama Ayariga, for the termination of the Ghana Health Services agreement with Zipline to facilitate the distribution of critical emergency drugs, vaccines, blood and blood products. You can share your thoughts with us, 0533 292525, 0533 292525. Share the thoughts with us as we do the readings here in the studio. We have some messages coming in, and I will run through a few of them. This one says, if indeed NPP claim nothing is happening and some of the achievement the NDC is claiming are through the hard work of the previous government, then Pandai by-election will exonerate them. When NDC is very busy building poultry and meat processing plants, about to construct express road from Accra to Kumasi, and MPP is seriously organizing press conferences and parliamentary walkouts, how can they win Pandai by-election? Honorable Alhaji Feila Fuseni, MCE of La Nkwantanan Madina, I salute you for your hard work in the municipality. Ali Baba sent this message from Medina. This one says, good morning to you, Michael. I like the critical analysis on the zip line. I think that this is the way to go. We must do value for money analysis to ascertain whether the deal is a good deal. Okay. Sami from Assignment says that the deal must be cancelled outright. In the last 3 years, paying 170 million Ghana cedis to this company, they would have already made a lot to offset whatever cost they have spent in constructing their distribution centers. Okay. This one says, hi, bro. Seriously speaking, many of some contracts that occurred under the previous NPP government need to be reviewed or cancelled for the betterment of Ghanaians. Papa Bisiu from Spintex, Accra. Good morning to you in the studios. I do not think that the cancellation of the contract is the way to go. We must first of all analyze the delivery of the service by Zipline and see whether we are in a position for an alternative. If not, the contract can always be reviewed, and especially when they are private investors, I'm sure they will be open to discussions around the table. Immediately cancelling the contract of Zipline is premature. The company is only 3 years into its operation. If the government suspects any foul play, the best thing to do is to call for further details. And from the look of things, those details are not known. Okay, but I'm sure that the people in power may know. Okay, this one says, good morning to you, Michael. Let's be cautious in how we discuss this issue. The minority leader said that it is his personal opinion. This may not reflect government's position on Zipline and the way forward. Okay, you're still live on Inside Pages. I'm Michael Kofi Odro, show running between now and 10 a.m. You can also share your thoughts with us. The show is streaming live on Facebook. You can go there and share those views there. You can also do a simple SMS or WhatsApp message via 0533-292525, 0533-292525. Share those thoughts with us as we do the readings here in the studios. Okay. We have been joined by George Eyisi, who is a member of the communications team for the New Patriotic Party. Good morning, George, and thanks for the time.
Yeah, good morning, Kofi.
I'm sure the week has been good.
Yeah, it's been good.
We're discussing the call from the majority leader for the cancellation of the contract, the government's contract or agreement with Zipline. And his call was a reaction to the minority leader, Honorable Afenyo Markin's call for the Minister of Health to, as a matter of urgency, settle debts with Zipline, who have already shut 3 centers.
Yeah, thank you, Kofi. Good morning to you. Good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my colleague and your production crew. There's been contracts that sometimes go beyond the times of the governments that sign the contract. And since it's a contract signed by the states has a responsibility to ensure that what agreement there is in that contract is being complied with. And then 2, as a new government, they have the right to, as my colleague said earlier, to review whatever contract that is being signed in the name of the state by the previous government. If they look at it and they think it's worth it, they can renew the contract and let it continue. If in their estimation and per their programs, it doesn't meet what they envision, they are vested with the power and authority to so decide whether they will continue with the contract or not. As far as the first at the end of the contract is due, okay? That is per the agreement, you know. And so I think the Zipline contract is a good contract. It's benefiting the people across the country, especially those in the remote areas. In terms of the delivery of blood, emergency services, snake serums, and then last I heard that some of the reasoning, Kofi, that is being given for the possible cancellation is that they are lifting the blood and then mosquito nets and others. I read that as well. So if the service can render that, why? Because people need mosquito nets in certain areas. And so if Zipline is delivering that, it's saving lives, especially that of children. So if Ghana owes the Zipline company, it is our duty to pay them, okay? And as I said earlier, if they review it and they think it's not worth it, it's up to the government to so decide. But I think it's a worthy service that ought to be continued and improved upon. If there are challenges, we'll look at that. Because when it came, we had people saying it's going to be used to look at women bathing in the... you saw the politics
I'm sure that was on the lighter.
Yeah, the politics of it. But... thereafter, we have seen the invaluable services they've rendered to the state, and I think we need to sustain it. Whatever it is, if the majority leader in his thinking and the government thinking that what we are doing, there are alternative ways to ensure efficient delivery of those services, you know, via other means other than
for me, the big takeaway from the majority leader's position is the call for us to build in-house capacity, which for me will create a lot more jobs for the Ghanaian citizens, which would also give us total control, and then also possibly cut costs. And it is not as if this is the creation of Zipline, because we're made to believe by the previous government that this is an idea that was mooted by the former vice president, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. So if it is his creation and the idea did not come from Zipline, was it and is it not possible to build in-house capacity for us to own our thing?
Why? The former vice president traveled to a certain country, I've forgotten, and saw those services being rendered. Yeah. He said, no, we can replicate this program in Ghana, especially to benefit the rural people. And rightly so, they took that decision. And, you know, sometimes if you don't have a certain skill and you don't have the knowledge in the delivery of certain programs, what you do is you invite the experts into your country, the starters, and whilst they are doing it, definitely you have the training capacity requirement of the people within the health service alongside, so that at a point in time when those delivering those services decide to move away, you would have trained your people with a requisite capacity and know-how to be able to take over from the original people who came, who have the skills and the know-how for that service. So it's not out of place, Kofi, if Ghana decides that as part of its transition programs, it's going to train people from the Ministry of Health to acquire the skills and the know-how for the delivery of these Zipline services to the Ghanaian people. It's in the right order. So it's good to build that capacity. And that's what I said. As time goes on and the contract tenure expires, it gets closer, we would have trained our own people on how to deliver those services, and they take over at the Ghana Health Services. It's all in the interest of the Ghanaian people. We want our people to get jobs and acquire proper skills to be able to help improve our health delivery services.
Okay, let's share with our viewers that we've just been joined by Wanda Madilu, who is a development analyst and also a member of the NDC's communications team. Good morning, sir, and thanks for the time. Okay. Yeah. You have met us having conversations around the call by the majority leader for the cancellation of the Zipline deal. And I'm sure you have a thought or two briefly so we can move on to our next issues. Please put on your microphone.
We are witnesses to, Zipline's operations in Ghana.
Okay.
Nobody is disputing any of those. Number two, we all saw the genesis of Zipline. We were told that it was to deliver essential services within the, transport environment when it comes to medical deliveries and all that. And so I think at the time they call it medical drones and all that. So that was fine. We also raised questions about the amount, the cost. I mean, the initial cost for government was $12.something million at the time. And that was a huge concern. 2019, 2020, thereabouts, it was a huge concern at the time that we were going to a deal that cost $12.something million. The questions raised at the time was that $12.something million could build a brand new hospital. It could build a new warehouse. It could build several, warehouses or storage centers, if you call it, for medical, delivery to the rural areas, as it were. We also questioned the numbers. The numbers being how many people this was intended to serve, and which areas of the country, and if those areas were not already close to the regional drugs delivery warehouses already. And so several questions were raised. Little did we know that Zipline was making so much in this country. As at date, we're told that government owes 179 million Ghana cedis. I mean, I was just on my way here, I was checking what the cost of one of the Agenda 11 projects was. I mean, on average at the time, they told us it was 16 million Ghana cedis, dollars to put up an Agenda 11. 16 million. Today, it should be like 170 million Ghana cedis to put together a complete regional hospital that has a mortuary, that has accommodation for staff, about 8 people. It has a 3-bedroom unit for 8 people. It also has a generator standby. It has a pharmacy. It has a morgue. It has a POPD and all that.
Do we stop this and replace that with the building of hospitals?
No. So the difficulty we have is that the cost that is going into some of those, and I was listening to my brother talking about mosquito nets delivery. Really, is that how low our country has gotten to, that Zipline in this country is delivering mosquito nets? What emergency is mosquito net to be delivered? And at what cost? How much is mosquito net in the first place? When somebody can walk into a pharmacy or whatever to get one. So we are throwing money at some things that could have been done.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and then we put closure to this matter. The majority leader, in his delivery on the floor of Parliament, also he mentioned that for all these areas that Zipline is providing these essential services, there are road networks. Yeah. So drugs could be delivered through the traditional means. Sure. Does this not defeat the efforts in moving into the digital and technological age?
No, not at all. In fact, stock management, I mean, in modern day stock control is IT, is internet-based. It is technology-based. For you to know that, okay, in Ashanti region, I need so and so drugs for the next week because that's the demand for it. It's also technology. So it's not as though once you are delivering these drugs, and they are not going to be delivered from Accra. All the regional centers are supposed to have their own, drugs warehouse owned by the state. And so you make provisions for what you need in the region. Everybody is supposed to forecast what is needed in the region and what should be delivered at what point or the other. Otherwise, all the companies we have in the world, the big companies, would have been doing things by drones because somebody failed to do his job. And we are saying that Ministry of Health has the capacity, on its own, to develop a center or a drone delivery system or a technological advanced system of delivery of drugs and all those essential medicines and all that. And so it's not as though we are moving away from digitalization or any of the sort. We're rather making sure that there is no corruption. We're making sure that deliveries are done just in time. We're also making sure that those deliveries are not of so much cost to the state that we cannot bear. And then also to make sure that there's a human face to some of these issues that we're talking about here. So I fly a drone from here to Kukwantumi, and then we are told that, okay, it's carrying mosquito nets or whatever other drugs. How do we verify some of those? Because it's only done at the center. Nobody seems to have control over that and all that. And so we need proper planning. If we have proper planning systems in place, we don't need a drone delivery system. Look at our countries nearby. None of them have drone delivery systems. Does it look as though their health industry or system or health environment is failing and all that? Even in some states in the US, they don't have that because there's proper planning. Everybody knows how much of antiretroviral drugs I need per month and all the TB drugs that I need per month, and there's proper planning. Okay. We were even told at the time that these drones were supposed to deliver drugs to areas where there's rampant snake bites and all that. How can we get to this level? What's the expiry date of drugs that they cannot be kept in a warehouse for a period to be delivered to the people who need them? So this is where the challenge is.
Okay, keep your phone.
I just a little addendum. I'm surprised. My brother speaking from a socialist background, he's saying, the mosquito nets, people can just go buy it. Not people's affordability. And two, the issue of accessibility is part of the reasoning why the drone services were brought in the first place. Okay. If you've lived in rural Ghana, my brother, it's not a joke. Okay, and I'm surprised because most of the avos is coming from rural Ghana, and yet he thinks it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Please, the reasoning for getting this service is fantastic, and we need to keep it good. If there are challenges and it ought to be reviewed, we're all for it, but for the better, so that we have value for money. That is all. But the service is important. It's helping rural Ghana.
Okay. You're still live on Metro. Sorry, I almost said Metro Sports, but you'd have to forgive me. Inside Pages. Keep your thoughts coming through 0533-292525, 0533-292525. At this point, we will do a quick break. When we return, we still have the Tamale High Court ruling on the Pandai election rerun, and then also the issue of religious freedom at our senior high schools to discuss. We're back shortly after this break.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enye. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby coat. In fact, bibia opama omanyina obenye biwa ase.
Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059-6377-172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheche woni nara mi din eje baby dapa me dia de sonko kra na ebremo nya odi to aduane mu ama waduane e dapa na me de bremo eno any some spices dey emu wa wo bebre o various flavors ubenya eya akoko ubenya nantwie ye de ku jollof mu ma emu ye de ubenya ye de ku nkwan ye de ku froye mu ho na kope bito na ema waduane enye de unyimi nia ye nkon ye konko tie nyankofo eka.
Pourtant, you communication ni enjoy Uduba, that Samu spices. One in the essence, no pie. I'm going to get it. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Mun Samu.
Samu spices, Nyama chicken.
Samu spices. Nsaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, can jollof, and the flavors of Adobe bread.
Samu spices, yes, Saka.
FDIJ Jadien Kratwe Yatum.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension, just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Trotro from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
712 hash, star 712 hash. Yeah, you go feel the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go feel be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
God Kwamio!
Send your God up boom. If you put it with so would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey.
Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, mommy, simple direction. Mr. Good Luck no check me way.
Yeah,
man.
Easy car. Or dial star 712 hash. The devil is a liar. He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm a baby deal.
Oh, how romantic!
And he followed the prompts, yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, baby, I'll find me pay my seminar. Before December, may release a motivational album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Oh, Jose, and I made the SMS. Can any pan, na sana, Monsieur, na what me? A drain I didn't quano, Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No, benefit him. Me benefit wine. Also, what told dear?
Abrewa, let's mama, Abrente, Mishuve. One antique a crana wabre. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and any capsules, Nanya, what ya brebia.
Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and the capsules. Assembly,
a devil when Amawani, I say, send your name, wife, company, one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules, and tea. Say, see, I'm password.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. Emeni chienya sumdie befi abrebia. Obebia o de pua hauno. Edro bakupa uhiane tremendous capsules. Tremendous capsules. Esiesie wu ma uye obesima. Enro yi ubenya bi obebia yeton robia. Kingdom Herbal. No challenger.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Michael Kofi Odro live on Inside Pages, show running between now and 10 a.m. Now, the Tamale High Court, presided over by Justice Emmanuel Brew Plange, has annulled the 2024 parliamentary election results for the Pandai constituency and ordered a fresh poll within 30 days following a successful legal challenge. The petition was filed by the National Democratic Congress NDC candidate Daniel Nsala Wakpal, who claimed that the December 7, 2024 election was tainted by serious irregularities. After examining the evidence, the court agreed with the petitioner, ruling that the level of non-compliance materially affected the outcome of the poll. The sitting member of parliament for Pandai is Matthew Nyindam of the New Patriotic Party, who was declared the winner in the December vote. In his judgment, Justice Plange intervened decisively, demanding that the EC restore credibility by organizing a transparent poll. Now, in the election of 2024, the MPP's Matthew Nyindam secured 27,947 votes, representing 53.47%, whereas the NDC's Daniel Nsala Wakpal got 24,213 votes, representing 46.33%. And let me start this one with you, Wanda. I mean, it was obvious that the two biggest political parties were going to be divided over the ruling, whereas the NDC has shown support and confidence in the ruling by Justice Plange Brew. The NPP's reaction is in the opposite. Not too sure what you make of the happenings from Monday when the ruling was announced.
No, it's not as though we are excited about the ruling from the learned judge. We took the case in court to court, and so a favorable outcome should certainly excite us. And we have made the argument that prior to the 2024 elections, right, the MPP had a system in place that they believed was going to work, just as it worked in 2020, for them to win the election. So now we've had leading figures say that we will not hand over to the NDC. The key to power is in my hands. The mama can never be president. Ghana will never be given to the NDC again, and that they were going to win an overwhelming majority in parliament, unknown to them. And credit to our fallen hero, Dr. Omani Boama. We had a system. We had our own system to monitor the elections. We had our own system to collect results. We had our own system of security and also policing the ballot. And so we didn't give them a dog chance, as it were, in previous elections. They lost the elections, and many of them were beginning to think that what happened in 2020, where election results were declared and the president was impressing on people as alleged that elections should be declared in certain areas in their interest. That did not happen. They lost it. So we went to court debating that, yes, the election as it was held was not properly collected, neither was it properly declared. And the CI that we used to run that election is clear, that the election results of the parliamentary must be declared at the coalition center. And it's only at the coalition center you can ask for a recount of 1 or 2 polling stations or whatever, and then things are carefully planned. And then in this particular instance, the election results were not declared at the polling at the coalition center. It was declared somewhere in the police station or somewhere of the sort. We raised concerns about that. We also raised concerns about the figures that were coming from some, polling stations that were being entered by the EC and all that. So it went to court. And in the wisdom of the court, they felt that the NDC had a case. And this is not the first time. We're beginning to behave as though this is the first time Ghana's electoral results were contested in court. Many years ago, growing up, I remember the case of Ayawaso West Ogun between the NDC and the MPP. The MPP went to court. I remember Frank Amu was then the one going to court at the time. George Amu, not Frank, right? Who went to court and had the election results overturned. After a couple of years of the NDC candidates in parliament, am I right? Yeah, for all the 4 years. In fact, we were left to only about some 6 months to the main elections. Then the court ruled that the NDC candidate was not the legitimately elected candidate. I think she even lost her entitlement as an MP and all that. So it is not the first time. It's not new. It will not be new. And people who don't know the history of this country in terms of elections should wake up to some of these realities. The courts are there to adjudicate and to bring finality to some of these disputes in our electoral process. If we don't support the court, if we don't agree with them, if we don't, we feel that their judgment is not in our favor, we should be humble enough to accept it or go for an appeal. The law itself allows us to do some of those things. And so I think that the MPP should exercise some restraint. If they want to go on an appeal, it's fine to go on an appeal. But let's not prosecute this case in the court of public opinion, because it was not public opinion that gave the ruling. It's a competent court of jurisdiction that gave the ruling. And if they want, they can go to court and prosecute their case. Number 2, we are willing and waiting for them to show up in Pandai so that we can run these elections and see who becomes a victor in these elections.
Okay. Now, George, what could possibly explain the MPP's discontent with the ruling, and why are you heading for an appeal?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, an election is being conducted. In our estimations, the processes were gone through, and a winner declared, which winner is the Honorable Matthew Nyendam, the current Member of Parliament for the area. The NDC candidates didn't understand it and thought some of them were infractions. And CI, the 127, Regulation 39 and 43 were breached. And so the courts must come in to settle the issues. And when it went through the court processes, some said from 8A, you remember when we went to court, a lot of the pink sheet issues and co.
Yeah.
Everything that is done in the election process must be seen to be very credible. And I've had the privilege of being my party's representative at the Coalition Center on several occasions. And that is, so from what I'm hearing, part of the issues is that it was some compilations were done outside the jurisdiction of the Coalition Center.
Yeah.
So the rule says this is the point designated for that. And if you were going to do anything outside of that place, it should be in the understanding and agreement of all parties involved in the play.
Yeah.
Okay, but they make the argument that Mr. Wokpa, Honorable Wokpa, was not aware that those 41 polling stations were being compiled elsewhere. And so that brings his disagreement to that. If that was the case, I would be tempted to say he had a case. That how can it be that we are all participating in something and then you're doing something else, something has cropped up and you need to go do it elsewhere. You don't inform me, a key player in the whole thing. And it's a substantive case. Whatever it is, the Honorable Afenyo Markin, the minority leader, may be privy to certain details. In fact, I was not too comfortable with his choice of some of the words he was using on the learned judge and co. But I said, well, maybe he knows something that we don't know. You get it, which is making him to make those statements. The judge has given his ruling, and I remember in 2016 when I was representing my party at the Coalition Center, incidentally, the candidate happened to be my wife then. And when the issues, certain things were happening, I vehemently disagreed and felt, no, we're not going to sit down for these things to be carried out, and then a declaration is made against us, and you'll be told, go to court. And we saw what my brother referenced right now, the Ayawaso West Wagon case. It took all the 4 years and to travel, and our Georgia Mo Honorable was sitting at home. So we don't want such a case. So we had to stand on our feet to ensure every I is dotted and T is crossed. And ultimately, the rightful owner was declared. So at that point, you must be very, very careful, diligent and meticulous in the discharge of your duties. If for whatever reason it goes to that place, Wakpal is lucky, maybe the NDC, that the courts is giving the ruling earlier. And I understand that after 2013, 2012, this thing, there's been amended to the election petitions and co. Now, the parliamentary ones end at the appeals courts. Okay, so there can be time for it. You move expeditiously, and I'm happy with that. That's progress in our legal jurisprudence. That is good. Let's see how it goes. I've heard Martin Nyindam is not happy. The minority generally, we don't seem to agree. And fortunately, the speaker is giving a ruling. I thought it was a good, he's brought some legal education to all of us. I heard F.O. Eche, the Fiamakwo Honorable, saying they shouldn't allow Nyindam to be in the House. But there's a precedence,
okay.
Kofi.
But let me find out from you. Do you think the MPP has enough grounds to get the appeals court overturn the ruling by the House?
That's why I said there are certain things that the minority and the lawyers may know that yes, okay. Because the strong position of the minority leader gave me, okay, maybe they know something I don't know, and the rest of us.
So your conviction is only on the basis of the minority leader's position?
Oh, no. From what I heard from, I have not gotten the details of whatever it is. But the speaker saying he should be allowed the 7-day mandatory stay of execution order and all that to participate in the House. Jechi Kwesin, when the High Court in Cape Coast gave the ruling, he was still going to Parliament until the Supreme Court's order was given, which stopped him from participating in the parliamentary proceedings. Let's come to the matter. The by-election, Pandai, we have won, Nyindam had won it, and then Wokpa took over, and Nyindam is taking it over again. It can go anyway. Okay. It can go anyway. But the other aspect that people, the NDC took advantage of when we went to Akwatia was that, yes, they have political power. And so if you need development, who better than the NDC in government to do it for you? But I think it's not going to be what you fly or will fly in Pandai, because then the argument will be made. Over 187 members of parliament, or it's not 88, members of parliament, you know, they are all clamoring for development. Are you saying they are all going to have it done and then it gets to you immediately? Okay. Development aspect, I disagree with you. So that is, we are very upbeat and optimistic that when we go to Pandai, Nyindam, they are one of their own that they trusted. You know, he was there, they kicked him out and said, no, you are better than
why not save all of us the time and then let's have the rerun in 30 days?
Oh, no.
If that is the position
due process,
and the strong conviction of the MP.
Due process must be followed.
We come to Pandai. Due process. Let's do business.
Okay. Now, Richard, the focus of MPP's, the NDC's suit in the Tamale High Court was in 41 polling stations. And from the conversations before the ruling, it looked like what they were looking for was to have a rerun in those 41 polling stations. But now the ruling is asking for a total rerun of elections in the constituency. Not too sure what you make of this.
Well, first of all, this is an issue between the group.
Please put on your microphone.
Yeah, like I said, this is a major battle between the duopoly. And to ask, our opinion, my personal opinion on this subject matter is, in as much as we are all contributing to the democracy of the country, it is also incumbent upon us to make a few statements. Now, if we go into an election and during the process of collating the result, you say another contender mobilizes his base or few segments of his base to storm the coalition centers to disrupt the whole process. And in an attempt to remedy the situation, the Electoral Commission has to move the coalition center to Tamale. And if you look at the electoral law, it doesn't say explicitly whether both parties has to be at the coalition center. If you choose not to be at the coalition center when the result is declared, that doesn't mean the result is invalid. But if in the process he was invited to come and he refused not to, and turn around to file a legal action seeking remedy from the court that he has problem with 41 polling stations, which he believes something untoward happened during the counting process or whichever it was. Therefore, he was seeking a remedy on these 41 polling stations for it to be looked into. So if an applicant is seeking for a review of 41 polling stations, it baffles me to know what went into the judge's thinking to then now try to nullify the entire election of about 152 polling stations to say it has to be rerun. Don't forget, if I go into my polling station and I cast my vote, there was no ambiguity there. There was no chaos. Nothing happened there. Everything was clear to all contenders. And I left. Why would you tell me 11 months down the line that I should go and queue again and go and cast my vote? It is totally a breach of agreement between the voter and then the Electoral Commission, because if there's an agreement that when I vote, you have to count my vote and declare it. So if I go and cast my vote and everything went well, and today you are telling me you are nullifying it, then it begs for an answer. And don't forget that we are building a democracy, so we shouldn't make it look like everything that's been happening is cast in stone and it might remain like that in perpetuity. Okay. It cannot be so.
So now, if you do the calculation, 41 polling stations out of 152 is 26.9% of the total polling stations, approximately 27%.
Yeah.
Are you saying that irregularities or malpractices within 27% of the entire polling stations is not enough to call for
It doesn't.
a total
It
rerun?
doesn't. It doesn't. Assuming we are talking about 50%.
Okay.
Or
Well,
60.
okay, hold on. Wanda, do you share in that same state that irregularities or malpractices within 27% of the electoral area or the constituency should not call for a total rerun?
No, you should call for a total rerun.
Okay, you hold it. Let me come
you
back
should
to it.
call.
I just wanted your position on the matter.
This one, if you if you ask me whether my wife's food is beautiful or tastes nice or not, what do you expect me to say? It is obviously tasting nice.
Okay.
So if you ask an NDC man whether a 29% election, obviously because this one is extremely in their interest, so they will say yes.
Okay.
But I'm speaking from a general perspective.
Okay.
That look, even if you go to school, what constitutes fail? What constitutes fail? Or what constitutes a receipt? You cannot have 50% that they will ask you to go and receipt.
No.
Or you cannot have 70% and they will ask you for a total receipt. No, you have passed. So an election that delivers 70% accuracy obviously is a passed election.
Okay.
So if there is an aspect of it that needs remedy, you go for that. Because if you don't do so, you are setting a very bad precedent. The precedent will be that tomorrow somebody can go and misbehave at any police station at a contender and know vividly well that there is a precedent that says that I seek remedy for 41 and the entire election was nullified. He could make a case.
Okay. You hold on, Richard. Let's get onto our Zoom platform where we seek the thoughts of private legal practitioner Theophilus Donko. Good morning, sir, and thanks for the time here on Inside Pages.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, and good morning to the other panelists.
Okay. First of all, what do you make of Justice Planch-Brew's ruling directing a rerun of the Pandai parliamentary elections within 30 days?
Before I answer your question, I want to, as a lawyer, I want to make a brief comment about what has happened since Monday to today.
Okay.
I think that I'm not, as a lawyer, I'm not pleased by the way commentaries are being run, especially by the minority group in Parliament.
It's one of the issues I was going to ask you, because and since you've started from there, let me ask you, many have described the reaction of the minority leader as an assault on Ghana's judiciary. Not too sure whether you share in that same thought of you've got a different opinion on the matter.
That is why I wanted to comment on it.
Okay.
I strongly believe that as a lawyer in good standing, and as a lawyer who has recently, in recent time, we know that he has utilized the court. And when people were complaining, he was of the view that people were attacking the integrity and the independence of the judiciary. So less than 11 months, you are also repeating the same thing you used to defend some few months ago. I think that we need some level of consistency when it comes to our profession, especially lawyers, in dealing with the judiciary. The judiciary is a very delicate and important institution in our democratic dispensation. So I think that as lawyers, we are the first shield of protection of the judiciary. We must not expose the judiciary to the kind of attack and ridicule that we are seeing in recent times by both political parties. You may have your disagreement with the decision of the judge. You may have your personal disagreement with the judge. That is why the law gives you an opportunity to appeal. They have filed an appeal. They have filed a stay of proceedings, as we are being told. I think that makes address the issue as to the attack. Because once you file an appeal, it means that you are strongly disagreeing with the judge, and that should end it. At the Court of Appeal, the three wise men will sit on the appeal and make a determination. So I want to appeal to both political parties that, especially the lawyers and all citizens, that we should not attack the judiciary, because it's an important institution that protects you and I. When the executive, the parliamentary, or any organ of state seems to breaching a law or doing something we don't like, it is the judiciary that we all run to resolve our dispute. Assuming the judiciary was not.
I think your position on whether it constitutes assault on the judiciary or not is very clear, and you have registered your displeasure with the reactions, especially by the minority. Let's go to the substantive matter. What do you make of the ruling by Justice Planche-Brew?
I believe that the first point we should also understand that when a right accrues to a person or a citizen, no administrative act or administrative decision or administrative body can take away that right. And in this particular case, the right to vote and the right to present yourself at the police station to vote. So once the people or the citizen or the people of Pandai have queued to vote, all the administrative processes should not take away that right. I believe that the contention, especially in this case, is that the petitioner was complaining about 41 police stations, yet the judge has gone ahead to say that they should rerun the whole constituency. As we speak now, I have not read the judgment, I have not read the decision of the court, so I don't know how the judge came to that conclusion. But I want to say that once there is an infraction, once the right of some people have been taken away, that right must be reinstalled. And that is what I think the judge was seeking to do, by asking that the whole election should be rerun.
Okay.
If the persons who agree by that decision...
those that have got different opinion have argued that the NDC in its suit and the reliefs they sought was for a rerun in the 41 polling stations and not a total rerun.
Yes. There is a basic principle of law that it is what you ask the court, that is what the court must do. So in this particular case, the petitioner is asking for 41 polling stations. But there is another principle of law, that when the judge is seized with evidence, a particular breach has occurred, even though the applicant or the petitioner has not asked for that relief. Once it is on the record, once it's part of the evidence, it is normally referred to as the Hanasi principle. Okay. Once the court is seized with that jurisdiction, the evidence, the court has power to order, if you are the trial, the court comes to a realization that, oh, those infractions they are talking of, or they are major infractions, then the judge is mandated to grant the order. So until we read the full decision of the judge, we might not even be concluding right by saying that the judge erred in asking for the whole rerun and not the 41 polling stations as the petitioner was claiming. So I think that if we had had the ruling, the judgment available as of now, we could have dissected. And all of us who are making prejudicial statements and attacking the judge, we have not looked at the reasoning why the judge came to that conclusion. Before a judge will come to a conclusion, the judge must have legal basis. The judge must give reasons why I'm coming to this conclusion. So I think that it is premature for all of us to be attacking the judge or to be attacking the decision. And I want to say that you have a right to criticize a judgment. You have a right to criticize a decision of the court, but not to personally attack the decision.
Okay.
I personally, I can tell you on authority that I have an issue with the judge when he was sitting as a high court judge at Amasaman High Court.
Oh,
but that does not mean that every decision of the judge will be attacked.
Okay.
I file an appeal against the decision. So we must not attack the judge personally, but we must attack the decision, which we don't have as of now.
Okay. We're grateful for your time and the insight on this morning's edition of Inside Pages. Theophilus Donko Esquire is a private legal practitioner who has just spoken to us on the Tamale High Court ruling for a rerun in the Pandai parliamentary elections. Let me do 3 messages and then we'll take a quick break. This one says, good morning to you and your viewers across... You never landed there. This one you have to do emergency landing. Good morning to you and your viewers across the world. This is Adam Kola, PRO from Tamale Central. Pandai rerun election is good because people in Pandai are welcoming this rerun because the results are not declared in Pandai. I am very happy that NDC will win the seat, hands down. My regards to Professor Ali Dusedu, MP for Tamale Central. This one says, good morning, Michael. We're still waiting to hear your panelist on the issue of freedom of worship in our SHS. You can be sure that we will deal with it, even though it looks likely that it will be brief comments from my panelists here in the studios. This one says, good morning, bro. Well done. This is a very good program. Keep it up with neutrality. You will go far. He goes ahead to say, bro, in this country, we should be very careful about our electoral laws, because if 1 + 1 is 2, and the electoral officer used ways and means and get a result, and you want the Ghanaians to take it that way, no, the law must work in this country. My take on this matter, thanks. Pizarro sent this message from our 7. This is Inside Pages. We'll do our last break. We're back shortly.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about Appointed Time Printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame? As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension, just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Huh?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Coffee be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the block, she be luckiest. Yeah, you coffee be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey!
Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, Mommy, a simple deletion. Mr. Good Luck no change me.
Yeah, man. Easy car. Or dial *712#.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his baby.
Oh, how romantic.
And he followed the prompt. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial *712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family for Massimo? Before December, may release a motivational album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Oh, Jose, and I made the SMS. Cannon Pano, Nasana, Michiana, what me. A drain I didn't quano, Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No, more benefit him. Me benefit wine. Also, what told dear?
Abrewa, the smama, Abrente, Mishuve. One antica crana wabre. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and any capsules, Nanya, what ya brebia.
Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and the capsules. asembia ye ho edeba ne wahu ama wani agise
senior na my wife company won personal Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules nti se sia mpaso aye de
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules emani tie ni asumdie befi abrebia oba bia o de pua haw no edro ba kupa wo hia ne Tremendous Capsules esiesie wo ma wo ye oba asima enro yi wo benya bi wo ba bia ye ton nro bia Kingdom Herbal no challenger.
Welcome back from the break. This is Inside Pages. We're sprinting to the climax of the program. We're just about 8 minutes to wrap up. So it is just fair that I share for the next topic 2 minutes each for my guest, and then I would also take the 2 minutes to wrap up. In fact, this week there's been a whole debate over religious freedom, and this is on the back of the Wesley Girls Senior High School in its enforcement of the Methodist doctrines and principles and preventing some Muslim students not from praying but from wearing hijabs. We've seen various support statements from religious bodies, the Catholic bishops, the Anglican Church, the Christian Council have all issued statements in support of the Wesley Girls School. The Methodist Church of Ghana also yesterday issued a statement. We've seen a private legal practitioner, Osman Shafiq, also heading for the Supreme Court. The Attorney General has declared support for Wesley Girls Senior High School in the enforcement of the Methodist doctrines. Wonder, where do we draw the lines between religious freedom, human rights, and the enforcement of particular doctrines?
Let me be very blunt on this matter.
Please, just 2 minutes.
Yeah, Wesley Girls is not owned by the state. It was founded, owned, controlled, and managed by the Methodist Church. And therefore, they do have a right to property, right to ownership, and what happens in that place. This is a school built somewhere in 1936, I'm told. 1836 or so. And they've been running this for many years. It won't be the case that overnight, just some few young men who have gone to school, young ladies, who have gone to school there will change the tradition of the school. This is what they've been doing and survived for all these years. Okay. Number two, there has not been any directive against Muslims in that school. Okay. What I do know is that the school has taken a decision that all students, no students, including Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, and all that, nobody must fast, because they've had situations in the past where children claimed they were fasting. Some fainted, some were sent to the hospital for several other issues. And the school took a blanket decision that henceforth nobody fasts while within the precincts of the school. So it's not targeted at Muslims and all that, as we are hearing in the media.
Okay.
I know you don't have
now,
time.
for those that have criticized the school for discrimination, can we state emphatically that the school is discriminating against Islamic or Muslim students? Because even for the Methodist Church, they are also part of the Christian group that practice what we call Lent. I'm a Presbyterian. So for the Methodist, Anglican, the Presbyterian Church, the Catholic Church, we have 40 days of fasting preceding Easter. And the school says students cannot undertake this fasting period. So can we say that the school's position is justified, or those that are also making claims of discrimination have got basis for making such assertions?
Yeah, Kofi, first, we are dealing with children. You get it. The Children's Act 560 must be factored in. I know my good friend and brother, Bright Apia, may be listening, and then maybe from Monday he'll be issuing a statement on that for child rights. I think, one, we should factor that they are children. Okay. That is very important. And so the fasting matters, as my brother said, there's been a precedent of problems happening, and the school doesn't want to have that recurring. And so that is very important, one. Two, the Methodist Church has come that, look, we have tolerated all religious fasts from the beginning up till now. But the underlying principles is the Methodist doctrine Okay? So that is what has made the school so attractive for all of you to want to be in that school. And so we cannot be seen to be altering that now. And as my brother said behind the scene earlier, if you don't take time and you leave this hijab thing, next time you see the Hindus or the others, the Wolomo people also putting on their white and they are saying,
and coming to
class, you get it, barefooted and all that. But there are standards, tenets, ethos for the school that must be followed through stricto sensu by all of them. So I think I'm happy the Attorney General, is taking a position to protect Wesley girls and their principles and standards with which they execute their education, which is within the Ghana Education Service laws. I pray that the Supreme Court should help uphold the tenets of Wesley girls. I was in Infanspim, so they are like our girls' school. So yeah, but nobody is inhibiting the students from practicing their religion, but there are certain things they say no. They are children, they cannot allow them to do that.
Okay. Now, Richard, what are the dangers of the strict position of the Methodist Church and Wesley Girls Senior High School? And then also, what are the dangers if we open it up, all in the name of human rights and religious freedom?
Well, certainly, just to buttress what my seniors have said, we are not going to reinvent the wheel, and it's not going to be done any day soon. And sincerely speaking, Ghana is a secular state. Islam, Christian, traditionalists, the atheists, the Rastafarians, everybody has the same equal right. Nobody is above any. So if you have a religious body, and you know that this is who we are, this is what we believe, this is our belief, this is our worship.
Okay.
From the very inception, because you know you are going to be populating, you should have built sufficient schools that will accommodate all Muslim religious people. Because that is who you want, that is what you want to become. So you must build sufficient schools.
Okay.
But when a Methodist church, a Presbyterian church, build their school and they run it with their principles of religious identity, and over 100 years, and then you say to them today that because you have populated so much and you don't have sufficient school to accommodate your people, and you are going to go into Christian-based schools, and you are trying to truncate the process of them allowing you to identify with Islam and wear hijab and do all other things, then you are rather fighting a war that you cannot win. Okay. You cannot win such a war, because at the end of the day, we are not discriminating against Islam. We love them. We are together. We believe in cohesion. But when it comes to fundamental principles, you must abide by it, and you must abide by it even to the peril of your life.
Okay. Your point is well made. George Ojaba from Ho sends out his regards to you. He says he knows you very well. Today is the birthday of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Wow. A special happy birthday to you, Mr. President. We continue to ask for long life for you. We ask for good health. We ask that God continue to bless you with wisdom, with knowledge, and the strength, so that in the remaining years you lead this country, we have an exemplary leadership from you. Happy birthday, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That's how we wrap up this edition of Inside Pages. Big thanks to George, Richard, and Wanda for the time here in the studios. But we're even more grateful to you who made time to join us on this Saturday morning edition of Inside Pages. Okay.